I've reached a point in my life and my career that I'm happy with what I've accomplished, very proud of what I've done, and I want my life to be a little more meaningful than just music.
Hey y'all, this is where Texas politics gets interesting. Here again are two guys named Jason, some great guests, and cold Texas beer for another smart conversation on Y'all-itics, the unofficial political podcast of Texas.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Y'all-itics. Wheeler has a couple days off. He claims he deserves it. I'm not going to argue with him because he loves to argue. My good friend Rebecca Lopez, who I've known longer than Wheeler, is in today. And one of the reasons we really wanted you on this episode is because we've been trying to put this episode together for quite a while now. You made it happen, Lopez. She breaks all the stories in Dallas-Fort Worth, and she pulled this one together as well, too. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. It's exciting to be here, and I'm really excited about getting to interview Bobby Pulido because as a Tejana, I grew up listening to Tejano music. I grew up with Selena, Little Joe, Mas, Emilia Nevada, Jay Perez. I went to all the concerts, used to dance all the time. I love it. I love Tejano music, so this is really exciting for me.
Well, Rebecca kind of gave you a hint there. Our guest today is not going to need a introduction to a lot of our listeners, but he's a Tejano music star, has been for 3 decades, one of the biggest fans right here. 5-time Latin Grammy nominee. He won a Latin Grammy for Best Album in 2022, 22-time Tejano Music Award nominee. He's taken home 8 of those as well. But here's the deal. He's now a Democratic candidate for Congress. What? Bobby Pulido is with us. Bobby, welcome, man. Good to see you.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me, man. It's really cool talking to y'all.
Yeah,
y'all.
definitely so. And Lopez, I wish you could see her. And for our listeners, you can't see her, but let me describe. Lopez normally, comes in real professional and ready to crack heads and things like that. She has a sparkly skirt on today and a sparkly shirt on today, like she's going to a concert, man.
Look,
it's good. It's all good.
Yes, look, I am the senior crime and justice reporter, but when it comes to having a good time and, you gotta dress the part because, when you go to those the Tejano dances, it is so lively and it is so fun and it is such a rich part of our culture here in Texas when you're talking about Tejano music, and it's really exciting to see that the Tejano music carried on even after the death of Selena because of people like Bobby Pulido, whose music and his song became an anthem. Desvelado, you just hear the first couple of notes and and everybody starts singing. It's amazing. Wow. And he's really carried on that legacy. Now,
I'm sure you've answered this question, Bobby, but you've had this successful career in music. You won the best album for the Latin Grammys in 2022. Why in the world do you want to push that aside now? You're in the middle of your farewell tour and go into politics.
We're nominated again this year, so I'll be going
Congratulations.
there next year. Well, yeah, that's everybody kind of wants to know that question.
And what do you tell them?
I was a political science major in college. I went there. I was there for 4 years at St. Mary's University, and I was 21 hours short of finishing. I reached a point in my life and my career that I'm happy with what I've accomplished, very proud of what I've done, and I want my life to be a little more meaningful than just music. Politics is something that I've always been fascinated with, and public service more than anything.
You saw the debate between President Joe Biden and former President Joe Biden and President Trump, and it bothered you. And I've heard you in other interviews say that might have been one of the reasons that you decided to throw your hat in the ring. How come?
I didn't like the way things played out from my party. I was very sad to see somebody get lost in their thoughts like that. It was just something really sad, and either you're gonna sit on the sidelines and complain, or you're gonna do something about it.
Well, let's talk about the district you're running for. District 15, it goes from the border, includes Edinburgh, where you're from, all the way up to the east side of San Antonio. Trump won this district by 18 points last year. And this is a district that Republicans have really had a lot of success in and probably going to want to defend. Where do you see a path to victory?
You know, they've gerrymandered the district again. And so 65% of the district is new. So the person that's in there right now loses a lot of incumbency advantages. George W. Bush won real big down here when he ran, and so did Obama. so so does that mean that people, are just shifting with the party, or does that mean that they just vote for the person at the top of the ticket they feel will best, improve their economy in the economic situations, which is not what happened. It's actually the opposite.
When it comes to immigration, obviously Latinos down in the valley, there's a huge part of the voting bloc, I think it's more than 80-90% are Border Patrol agents. So, but there are people and Latinos, I think, that are getting more uncomfortable, at least that's what we're hearing, with the aggressive actions of ICE and the aggressive deportation efforts of the Trump administration. So what's your answer to this very difficult issue that has really been going on the border for decades?
I'll tell you, since this started happening, there has been a defection of a lot of Border Patrol agents because they don't like what's going on. I think there's a frustration that nobody really talks like, or nobody represents that middle ground. I feel like down here, a lot of people feel that they're tired of the tribalism. People in Starr County get branded now because they voted for President Trump. They get branded as Starr County's red. Well, the Democratic sheriff won 80-20 against a Republican opponent. Okay, Congressman Henry Cuellar got more percentage of the vote than even Trump got in the same county. This is not the narrative that it's red. They voted for President Trump. That's the difference. So people down here want somebody that represents their values. And that's it. They don't like the partisanship.
How would you describe yourself as a Democrat? Are you independent-minded? Are you centrist? Are you progressive? Because I'm sure after hearing this, our audience is probably going to have the same question.
I mean, I think it would depend on the issue, and so I was like, you ask Tiger Woods if he's black or if he's Asian. I guess it depends on what perspective. It just depends on what you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about economics, right? I am pro business. I'm pro small business. That's for sure. Do I think that we have bent over backwards as a country to cater to corporate America and forgotten about Main Street? Absolutely. Hell, I'm libertarian on some issues. And so
I think I read, though, that you said that you were neither Team Blue nor Team Red, though. So, I mean, are you really a Democrat?
I am a Democrat. Listen, who was the last president to balance the budget?
It was Bill Clinton, yeah, in the 90s.
Traditionally, everybody says Republicans are the best ones for the economy and better for money, but the facts don't show that. So if you don't ask me, go chat GPT it. Economies perform better under Democrats. 9 out of the last 10 recessions were under Republican presidents. GDP's been better under Democratic administrations. The unemployment rate has been better under Democratic administrations. So I am a Democrat. Now, if you're going to tell me, are you like a super left progressive? No, I'm not. But I think that you can be a fiscally responsible Democratic candidate, and that's what I think I am. I'm not a Republican.
I was going to ask you, how do you change the messaging then from the Democratic Party about religion and that somehow the Republican Party is the party of faith and Democrats are not the party of faith? What do you do to change that messaging? How do you change it?
Well, I mean, you campaign. I'm coming on a podcast with you talking about this, and I'm going to go on other podcasts, and I'm going at the grassroots level, going and talking to people there and telling them what I stand for. I mean, look, if you're going to look at something and say, okay, this party platform is this checklist, and then this other party is all this checklist, I guarantee you nobody checks all those boxes. There's not one person that goes, every single thing I agree with that. That's not the way it works. You run as under a party, but that doesn't define your thoughts. I mean, I'm a free thinker. I have my own way of looking at things, and I just don't feel like party loyalty should be the most important thing. Loyalty to your constituents should always be most important.
Bobby, the Republicans have been spending a lot of money down in the valley, not just District 15 there that you're running for, but throughout the Rio Grande Valley. And Democrats have been criticized for not investing as much. I'm curious to know whether you expect to have any help from the outside, from the Democratic Party, the DNC. And secondly, what do you think this race is going to cost?
I don't know. Never run a race. It's the first time I'm running, so I can't sit there and tell you it's this many millions. I know it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
We depend a lot on small dollar donors, and I encourage anybody that's looking at this podcast to get involved, to go to bobbypulidofortexas.com and help out. Now, I don't care what politician is out there. You want grassroots money from the people, because that's and it's this small dollar donors is so important. There's an old saying that says peanuts feed elephants. So you don't got to make a lot of money, but if there's a lot of peanuts, it'll feed a big elephant, and this campaign is an elephant. It takes money, but they have invested historically more. Republicans have, and I think this is something that doesn't just happen to the Democratic Party. I'll tell you something. I think rural America has been taken advantage of by the Republican Party, because they always feel like they'll always vote for them. And the biggest thing that I can tell you is I think that you got to be very careful of that hubris, because the same thing happened down here. The Democratic Party thought people will always vote for Democrats down here. So they stopped really investing and taking the people for granted. And we can't do that. Now, money does have a point of diminishing returns. We saw that Kamala outraced Trump. And did money get her the win? It didn't. So you got to be able to compete on the economic level, but you also have to compete with the messaging and getting that messaging across to the people.
Will you debate Monica De La Cruz, who's a Republican incumbent?
I would love to debate her. I would absolutely love to debate. Are you kidding me?
I want to make sure that I understood that.
She's never had a town hall. Never. She's never done a podcast. I'll tell you this. I encourage you to invite her and ask her questions. You can go Google if she's ever done a podcast. There's nothing. So if you're going to have a candidate that is going to expect for people to vote for you just because you have the R at the end of your name, I don't think you're making a very good case to get those votes. I'm willing to go anywhere and talk about anything. And so she's not.
And we've talked about a lot of issues on here, but if you were to tell voters of District 15 your top two priorities if you're elected, what are they?
Healthcare. We're seeing the problem with healthcare right now, right? Because these subsidies are expiring. Now they allowed this to expire, and I remember concepts of a plan a long time ago. I have concepts of a plan that never happened. Oh, when will we see a new healthcare? Because he criticized Obamacare. When will we see a new healthcare proposal? In 2 weeks, right? It's already been years. So healthcare is something that we need to address because it's outrageously expensive. I don't have health insurance.
Why don't you have health insurance?
Because it's too expensive. Look, down here in the border, the majority of the people on the border, many people, go to Mexico to get their health care because it's more affordable.
Is that what you do?
Yes. Now, if I get a cold or if I whatever, I go see a doctor and I pay cash. Because what's happening right now is it's cheaper to pay cash than it is to have a health plan. And so even if you have a health care, if you have a health insurance and you try to pay just cash, they will make you pay it at the more expensive rate than if you didn't have health insurance.
Let me ask this last question that I have here. People might be watching this and say, listen.
Immigration is the other one. Immigration is the other.
I didn't give you a chance to, yeah. So healthcare and immigration are your top two priorities.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Go, carry on.
Some people might say, listen, what does a musician know, a Tejano star know about politics and about negotiating and about getting things done? What do you say to that?
That's a fair point. I'll just tell you, I'm curious how many of those people voted for the guy that's the president that had never been in politics and got the keys of our country, and not to mention that the person that I intend to run against, because I still have a primary, that I intend to run against was selling insurance. She was an insurance salesman. Now, or saleswoman. That doesn't necessarily qualify anything. There's no quality for that. I think at the end of the day, words matter, ideas matter, and you have to have a grasp of the issues. I'm not the smartest person in the world, I know that, but I do want to be the most prepared person and the most informed person, and I do keep up with all of the things that are out there, and I pledge that I'll do the same as a candidate and as a member of Congress. And so, you know, there's people in Congress that have GEDs, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I wouldn't be the first person that wasn't a career politician since they were younger. I mean, I don't think that's a prerequisite to be a congressman.
It's certainly not a prerequisite to be in any office anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, no doubt.
Well, I want to end more on something fun. You know, one of the things that obviously your dad was a huge Tejano singer in his own right, performed with Selena. How big of an influence was Selena for you in your career?
Jeez, huge, because she was the first big crossover artist. That, and I say that is crossed over. She crossed over into areas that I could have never imagined doing, which was the English market. But she also crossed over into the Mexican market and the international market, and that served as a blueprint and an inspiration for me when I came out, that I could actually try to do that too. And believe it or not, you know, the fact that she did it paved the way for people like me. And I hope the stuff that I've done as well can pave the way for other people to do the same.
Are you going to keep performing? I know you have your farewell tour, but
yes, if
you're
elected, absolutely not. No, I'd give it up.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know, serving the people is a full-time job. And if I was elected, I would definitely let that go, which I love music. It's been great to me, but my life has to have a bigger purpose than just music. And so it's going to be up to the people to decide if I'm worthy enough for that or not.
Bobby, fantastic stuff. I'm glad we were finally able to get you on. I know you're juggling politics right now with the end of your farewell tour. So thanks for getting us on the calendar, man.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on your podcast.
Pero nos puedes decir algo en español para la gente que no habla inglés que van a ver esto.
Mi mensaje para toda la gente es esto. El latino tenemos fama de no participar en el proceso electoral. Las estadísticas no mienten. Nosotros como latinos hispanos no votamos en los números que debemos. Mi mensaje para la gente que me está escuchando es: involúcrase en la política, porque al final de cuentas, si no votas, no te puedes quejar. Tienes que votar por gente que te va a representar los valores que tú tienes, los valores de tu familia, los valores de negocio, los valores que tú quieres, y pues los invito a participar en el proceso siempre, siempre.
So Jason, he's basically saying he encourages Latinos to get out and vote, that they don't vote in numbers, in huge numbers, and if you want representation, it is so important to vote. And that's his message to the Hispanic community.
Great.
Thank you, Bobby.
Bobby, thanks so much, man. We wish you the best.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Gracias.